Welcome to GenCon Digital. I'm with François from the Space Cowboys. Hi, François.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
What are we going to talk about today?
Probably Splendor Marvel, I would guess.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
All right.
I think so.
So Splendor, the original game from Marc-André, was released in
2014.
2014 already. All right. And now upcoming, there is the Marvel version that we have here on the table. Can you tell us a bit more about how the game is played?
Yes, of course. It's a variation of Splendor, actually. And we try to make a totally different game, but still keep the spirit of Marvel, of Splendor, sorry, and have the same smooth gameplay.
All right.
So I can go on with it and explain to you how it's played. So if you've already played Splendor, or if you know the game already, you will find a lot in common, so sorry for that. And so let's start.
Okay, let's begin.
So this is a setup for a 4-player game. You need to remove a few tokens and a few cards, a few tiles, sorry, for less number of players. So here's the deal. The goal of the game is to earn this.
All right, those tiles.
Yeah, it's the Infinity Gauntlet. And in order to be able to do that, you need a certain amount of Infinity points, 16.
All right, so there is only one gauntlet.
Oh yeah, there is only one goal, and only one player will be able to claim it,
Obviously.
to win, of course. And you have also a few other conditions to earn the gauntlet, but I will go over it in detail a bit later. Okay? So, basically, how to get Infinity points. They're here on the cards. I can show you one a bit more closely. So, on a card, you've got a few characteristics, a few statistics. So, on the upper left, you've got the Infinity points. Here, you've got a stone, one of the Infinity stones, the yellow one. Okay? And here, you've got the cost of the card. So, each of the cards in the game is a superhero from the Marvel universe, of course. And you've got some heroes, some villains, and in-betweens. And so every hero belongs to one level of cards, depending on its relative power or whatever. It's more of a category. So you've got level 1 cards, level 2 cards, and level 3 cards. Okay?
Right.
So Hulk, for instance, is a 3-point value card. Okay? And you can see here that is pretty costly. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you play the game? Well, it's very easy. On each turn, you get one action and only one action. That's the most important and complex part of the game, actually.
Right. And that was simple enough.
I can say it again. So, one action and only one action. Okay.
Right.
So, which are the actions? So, the first one is take tokens. You will need tokens, so stones. You've got 5 stones available here for each of the stones on the gauntlet of Thanos, okay? The Infinity Gauntlet. And so, let's say, for instance, that I will take 3 different tokens. This one, and this one. And my turn is over. Okay? So, I put these in front of me, and the other players.
Right, now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you can take 3 tokens, and we go. You can also take, on your turn, 2 tokens of the same color. Okay? So I can do this, for instance. Okay?
Right. Okay.
But in order to do that, there must be at least 4 tokens when I make that choice. Okay? So now a player can take 2 tokens again. You, for instance, but the next one can't take 2 blue tokens.
All right.
He will have to choose the first action. For instance, doing this.
All right.
Okay?
I get it.
So, third possible action, reserving a card. So reserving a hero is like, well, I can't recruit it right now, recruit him or her right now. So, but I don't want anybody else to recruit it before me.
Obviously.
So I can pick any card I want, basically on the board.
All right.
Whatever cost or anything. So let's say, for instance, I will reserve Hulk because it's so cool. So if I reserve a card, basically what it means is that I will be the only player able to buy it, to acquire it. Okay?
So basically you set it aside for yourself.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay? And then you replace with another one,
Mm-hmm.
as you always do.
Mm-hmm.
This card, I can keep it for the whole duration of the game, and if at the end of the game I haven't recruited Hulk, it's no big deal. I won't be punished or anything, no matter. Okay? And as a bonus, when I reserve a card, I also get a shield token. So the shield tokens are pretty different from the other tokens. Still, they are tokens, which is very important for later in the game.
Okay.
And basically, it's a wild token.
Okay.
It can replace any other colored token, any other stone. Okay?
Can you set aside as many cards, as many heroes that you later want to recruit
No.
as you wish?
You're limited 3.
All
and
right.
the only way to get rid of one of your cards is to recruit it.
So that's where the limitation is.
Exactly.
In this action. Okay, get it.
All right?
Yep.
And you also get only 1 token, which is less than getting 3 or 2 from the previous actions. So it's a balance.
Okay.
And finally, of course, most important of all probably is recruiting superheroes. Because basically what you want to do is to create a team, you know, and with all of them together, reach the 16 infinity points and be able to claim the gauntlet. So how to do that? Well, basically I will use my tokens here to recruit them. So let's say, for instance, if there's somebody I can actually buy here. No, but it's no big deal. I will cheat shamelessly. So let's say, for instance, I want to recruit the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to put back in the bank
Uh-huh.
7 blue tokens, which is the full stock of blue tokens there is, and 3 purple tokens. Okay. So I put them back in the bank, and then the Green Goblin is put in my side of the board, face up, because it's not reserved, it's recruited.
Okay.
And from now on, well, it works for me, sort of. Of course, you get points out of that. But the most important part of the game begins now. Because when you get a card here, when you get a hero, from now on, during the full game, I will have a kind of virtual yellow stone, yellow token here. And this virtual token reduces all the costs of the other heroes. You know, he kind of give a good word for me. So, yeah, come with me.
Join the team.
He's a good guy, join the team and everything. So, for instance, this guy here can be recruited for 1 less yellow token. So I will need only 1 yellow and 1 red token to recruit it. Okay?
I see. So
But
these tokens are the infinity stones you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So basically, as the game goes on, I acquire more and more cards. I recruit more and more heroes, and they help me reduce the costs of other heroes. That's why Splendor and Splendor Marvel are engine building games, because the more you go into the game, the more powerful you are, and you kind of create some kind of, you know, machine to gather more and more heroes.
Okay.
Of course. But the thing is, you still have 1 action per turn, which means that even if a character comes for free, because that can happen, it still costs you 1 action. And actually the game is kind of a race. So losing an action may be actually being a real cost. Okay? Each time I recruit a new hero, I put another one in his place.
All right.
Okay?
How many heroes are there in the game?
90.
That is, so 30 of each?
No, 40, 30, 20. And
Right.
yeah, it's a lot of heroes, it's a lot of villains, it's a lot of people. It's 90 characters, and it was really fun to actually get to pick which ones we wanted, and to also put them in different families, because, well, we get out the rules a little moments, but each color of tokens is a color of a stone, and each of them is you know, the kind of the epitome of a quality. So I've got the power, the gem, stone. You've got the mind stone. And so we had to put them in specific categories. And of course, some of them can be, you know, in two specific ones, or even 3 for very powerful characters. So it was kind of reminiscent of the conversations I had when I was younger at school about which character was the strongest and who was the quickest and the most powerful, and that was actually very fun to do.
Did you reach an agreement within the Space Cowboys team regarding this?
Yeah. I think I'm probably the biggest Marvel fan of the whole studio, so I had quite
So
the
you
authority.
got the last word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time. But we had some, some pretty strong arguments. So it's for people who know about Splendor, what I've explained before is basically regular Splendor. Okay? But of course, with a superhero theme. But it doesn't stop there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
I'd assume.
No, really not. So, a few things more. In Splendor and Splendor Marvel, there are some tiles here, which in Splendor Marvel are location tiles. So very specific and iconic locations, like Wakanda. And to be able to claim them and to get the infinity points here, you need to have on your side 3 characters of the yellow stone, 3 characters of the blue stone, and 3 characters of the red stone. I'm not talking about tokens at all. I mean, locations, they don't care about tokens. What they want to make sure is that you have the right amount of cards. Okay? But once you reach the conditions here, the tile comes to you for free. It doesn't cost an action.
All right.
So it's quite a good way to, speed up your engine at the end of the game. You can have more than one, of course, but it's only one per turn. If you can have 2 of them at the same time, you need to choose the one first. Okay? Usually you'll get the second one later. And there were 3 points, which is actually not bad. For Splendor players, you play with 1 less location tile than noble tiles, and there are, double-sided for variety and a bunch of other balance issues.
Okay.
Well, it's more like a specialist thing,
Sure.
But there is also a new tile, and this
Yes.
tile is the Avengers tile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's got the A symbol, and you can find it on some other cards. So maybe these 2 guys, for instance, will remind you of something. Yeah, they're the original Avengers, but some other characters can have a tag too. Okay, so when you recruit a character with an Avenger tag, it basically does nothing special. But once you have 3 tags, okay, you claim this tile.
Okay.
And it can go very quickly, much
Yeah.
much more quickly than the location tiles. And it's worth 3 points.
Okay.
That's the good part of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in regular Splendor, when you get something, anything, cards or location tiles or anything, nobody can take them away from you. But the Adventure style,
Yes.
well, it moves around because,
Okay.
it's a bit like legitimacy, If you're the player with the most Adventure tags,
Well, you're obviously the Avengers team, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how it works. I get up to 3 tags, I take the tile, and I get the 3 points.
Okay.
Game goes on, another player moves up to 3. No
Yeah.
big deal, I still keep my tile.
I was first.
Yeah, but if somebody moves up
Yeah.
and gets to 4 tags, well, it's lost and it goes to him.
Okay.
And the thing is, that kind of interaction is fairly new in Splendor. I mean, if you're a good Splendor player, you're always watching what other players are doing. But in this game, you must be very, very, very attentive to what they're doing. Because due to the nature of the game and the 1 action per turn thing, you usually see them coming. They start to gather some Adventures tag, and you have already 3 of them. So you're like, okay, I can still pick one. But each of the level 3 Avengers, which are here, have 2 tags. Because they're the original team. So they can allow you to actually move over someone and to go from 2 to 4 and steal from here or her the Adventures tag.
All right.
Okay? So the fun part of it, by the way, is that if you manage to gather the 5 original Avengers, which I think can actually not really happen, but you actually win the game.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it's
Okay.
still respecting the victory conditions, but it actually wins you the game. So, how do you win? Because,
Yes.
well,
Excellent question.
yeah, exactly. So at some point, you will check, and very soon, I hope for you, you will check on the gauntlets, and everything for the victory conditions is on it. So 16 infinity points. So you get them from everywhere. But you also need a few more things. Of course, you need to have, well, the full array of stones. So it means you need 1 character from each color.
Aha. Okay.
Of stones.
I see.
At least 1. 1 is
Okay.
enough. Okay? And also, there is, well, of course, the 6th gem, the time one. And the time gem is green, and it's a bit different from the other ones because you can only get one when you pick up a level 3 character, when you recruit a level 3 character. That's why they have all of them as a gem token here,
I
the green token
see.
here, sorry.
How many of them do you need again?
One.
Just one.
Just one.
Okay.
And when you get one of these characters from this pile, you actually take one green token and you put it in your zone, okay? And that's enough to win. You can't ever take another one, okay? There is one for each player. So obviously, it's just a reminder that you have all the gems and you're now eligible to win. Stones, sorry. And you're eligible to win, okay? So what does it mean? Well, it's basically, you know, to remind you that you're close to the victory, but it also has another role. In the game, I kept it under wraps just for the surprise. In regular Splendor, your limit is 10 tokens.
Yes.
It means you can go over it, but at the end of your turn, which is very quick, you need to go back to 10. So if I'm up to 8 tokens and I take 3 different ones, so I've got 11 now, that's okay. I just need to discard one and put it back on the bank. So I'm back to 10, okay? The thing is, this one counts as a token because, well, you know, it's a token. So if you take very early in the game a level 3 character, because it's usually a good tactic, it means that your limit gets down to 9.
Okay.
Because you can't acquire or recruit anybody with a green token. You need to keep it and it doesn't help you.
Right.
Here, okay? So, yeah, that's the whole thing, I think. You need to have 16 points, 1 green token, so 1 level 3 character, and 1 of each of the different colors.
All right. So when I get to 16 points, I do not get the gauntlet.
Not yet.
Unless I need to
you
get all the conditions together, and then I get this tile, which basically represents the fact that I just won the game.
Not really. You're triggering the endgame. Oh my god! I said endgame.
Yes.
So when you've succeeded in gathering all of this, you're actually triggering the final round. In Splendor and Splendor Marvel, we need to make sure that everybody has played the same number of turns. So if, say, we're on a 4-players table and you started it, okay? So if you're the first player to reach all the conditions, you say, okay, I claim the gauntlet. But we still can play 1 turn, okay? But if the 4th player is the one who reaches it, it's instant win.
Okay,
because everybody has played the same number. So in the case that you manage to get all the conditions, and I do too, just after you, well, basically we count the points, the infinity points, as a tiebreaker.
Okay.
And the one with the most points wins.
I'm probably not going to ask what's going on if there's still a tie.
Oh, well, there are rules. Less number of cards in front of you.
Okay.
So basically, the strongest team with the strongest guys. And there are a bunch of other tiebreakers, including the adventure style.
Okay, I see. So now we've seen Marvel Splendor. So for those of you who do know Splendor, the original version, you've noticed it's quite similar. The main differences, if I got this right, are the endgame conditions, the Avengers tile, and this token here, which is called...
it's a green token. It's a time stone, actually.
It's a time stone. Okay. All right. So we've seen their differences with the original Splendor game. It seems a little bit more complex to me, like slightly, or...
There are a few more rules, of course. But, you know, the original Splendor, the rules are like 1 page.
Yes.
You can sum it up in 1 page. And
so
that's
it's like 1 page and a half.
Yeah, about. I mean, for a regular Splendor player, it's like 5 minutes to get to know all the differences. And, well, the gameplay is still very smooth. I mean, 1 action each turn is pretty easy to understand. And the game plays very fluidly. And, you know, Splendor is a very successful game, and I think it's mostly because it's an ideal gateway game. I mean, by that somebody who never played any games before, I mean, any modern game before, can actually go straight into Splendor Marvel. And, well, it's 2 pages of rules. So basically, you need like 10 minutes to get to know them. Then you make your first game. Of course, you make mistakes, but it's no big deal. And afterwards, you can play like forever because, well.
All right. So for those of you who do know or are Marvel fans, but maybe you're not so familiar with board games, maybe you don't know Splendor yet, this is still a very accessible game, and you can start with this and just play around with the heroes and the cards and get immersed into the universe, the Marvel universe.
We really tried to, well, all the modifications we've made are actually thematic. Of course, you've got the 90 characters, which is very different from regular Splendor. But what we've added is, I hope, quite simple, but still very close to the theme. I mean, having the need of having one stone of each color plus the green stone is very significant. It's quite important for the rules. I mean, we've tried to make sure that if a regular Splendor player goes into Splendor Marvel, I think he will try or she will try to use the same tactics, you know? And the thing is, we really try to, trick a little bit the players. Because, yes, for instance, one of the biggest tactics there is select 2 colors, for instance, and go only for them. You know, like I go for red and yellow, and I only pick yellow and red cards. And for the tokens I need, well, I can always pick them, but I get huge bonuses out of that. And it's usually a quite winning strategy in some Marvel games. Well, the thing is, you can't here. You still need one card of each
all
color.
The cards, yes.
And so at the beginning of the game, you maybe are under the impression that, well, I can always pick a blue card later in the game. But the thing is, the other players are watching you. And if they see that you're close to winning, but you're still missing one color, well, they can reserve it or even recruit it just before you. And so they can actually block you. And this doesn't exist in regular Splendor, of course. And another thing is that, veteran players, tournament players of Splendor like to get a very powerful card to begin the game. Usually in the first 6 or 7 rounds of game, they usually reserve a level 3 card and buy it as soon as they can, because it gives them a huge amount of points. And you can do that. I mean, you actually must take a level 3 card in order to win. So at some point you'll have to do that. But, well, reducing your reserve to 9 tokens may seem, very light and not that big a penalty. But, well, it can be bothersome at some points in the game, especially if you're playing with, veteran players. So there are a few things like that, like the repartition of colors, which is different from the original Splendor. Marc-André, the designer of Splendor, had a whole different structure of colors that he actually designed for the original Splendor, but was never used because you had to choose which structure you wanted to use. But, it was very fun because he said to me, but I have this whole new set of colors. And, well, we tried it and it worked, but it's really different from Splendor, but you can't notice it unless you know all the cards by heart. But, some people are like that, but I'm not, for instance. But when you play it, you're like, okay, usually if I go for, blue and green, blue or yellow, there are some, cards which I can expect to get in Splendor, but it doesn't seem to exist here. And it's true. The structure is very different. You have bridges between colors which exist in Splendor, and, well, they're different in Splendor Marvel. But this is very invisible, and for new players, it's not an added layer of complexity.
Yeah.
But for regular Splendor, it's like, it's quite different,
Yeah, okay. So François, you're the developer of the game within the Space Cowboys team. So you've worked with Marc-André and the Marvel team for this box. How did this, how this 3-headed collaboration worked?
Oh, well, perfectly, I would say. No, it was very fun. It's our first experience with licensing games, and I say it was pretty cool. I needed them a lot actually because finding 90 characters of the Marvel universe may seem easy. And well, as I said, I'm a big Marvel fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big superhero fan actually, but it's all started with the Marvel comics. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the characters in the game. But still, sometimes I was like, who's that? I don't know him or her. What can I do with that? And yeah, it was really very fun to get all the suggestions and the ideas. And well, it was pretty smooth actually, and really fun because when you're a fan of both Marvel and Splendor, well, it was kind of a dream job actually. And yeah, I was very happy with working
Cool.
with all of these friends.
Yeah, so I guess the reason why also you were so excited about the development and presentation of this game is because, well, it should speak to anyone who's a Marvel fan to begin with.
Let's hope so. It speaks to me, and
Okay.
well, we have some pretty good reactions from the audience for the moment. And well, I think most people think that Splendor has a very light theme. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the Renaissance and the merchants and everything. And honestly, that's quite true. And what we wanted when we started working on Splendor Marvel was to make sure that you will do things and experience things that you can't in regular Splendor. I mean, when the game is over, and whether you won or not, you have a team of superheroes in front of
Mm.
you, and you've got a leader, one of the strong guys probably, and you went to a location, and well, some of them are villains, some of them are heroes. There is probably a crossover event in the Marvel comics
Mm-hmm.
where this specific set of characters has happened because they've all met each other at some point. And yeah, you can tell yourself a story a little bit, which is something you can't actually do in Splendor for real. But yeah,
Okay, great. Thank you. I think we've seen the most of it. Is there anything else you want to add?
I know I'm fine.
We got it?
I think it's okay.
Cool. Thank you so much, Francois, for this presentation introduction
Thank
of
you a lot,
Marvel
Mathilde.
Splendor. The release date
It's
is
October.
October
Yeah,
2020.
this year.
Thank you so much for following us. Enjoy the GenCon Digital and see you around.
Bye.